Hi, this is Laura.
And this is Adrienne. And we're on Cool Conversations with Cool's Bestie.
So you can probably guess that my name is Laura Cool, and this is Adrienne Best.
Yeah.
And we are both psychics and get information from God on the regular because we meditate every day together.
Mm-hmm.
So we're coming together every Friday to do this podcast. And we thought podcast because it just seems to be less intrusive. Like you can just listen to us maybe when you're like, cleaning your house or driving in your car or trying to go to sleep at night, because we could possibly put you to sleep with our wonderful conversations. Possibly. Okay, so when we were meditating this morning, because we do this group where we do this clearing, then we pray and we meditate, and Adrienne and I then again at night get together and meditate at night together. So Adrienne and I meditate sometimes twice a day together, at least once a day, sometimes no days, but it's more that we do than we don't, right?
Absolutely.
We miss some days. But we find that our connection together is like, what? How would you explain it?
It's extremely strong, and we feel that every time we come together, we end up getting more productive information together. We just understand each other very clearly, and everything just makes sense.
Yeah. So today when we were talking about, we had some ideas on what we wanted to talk about, so I'll bring it up, and if you guys want to put in the comments what you think, because we were I was talking to a friend of mine who did some drugs, and he got some non-essentials on him, or demonic beings, and we had this whole conversation about it a couple years ago, and then again just recently. And so Adrienne and I were going to talk about that. But see, Adrienne has never done drugs. So it was a little bit like she understands how to remove non-essentials. So that was one of our ideas on bringing it to you guys about how, what do doing drugs like marijuana, alcohol, Molly, acid, pharmaceuticals versus like peyote, the plant medicine kind of journeying that people do, mushrooms, stuff like that, acid, all of those things, and what different kinds of dimensions those bring, and like what kind of things those bring in, right? So that's one of the things we were going to talk about. Another one was
bringing love into your life, into situations where normally maybe you overreact, or maybe you are getting really stressed out about it and anxious, and instead of allowing those emotions to take over, doing something to stay present in love in your heart instead. Right.
So we decided that we would look on what was trending on YouTube.
Yeah. That was interesting.
That's very, very interesting. If you've ever looked at like what's trending now on YouTube, what in the world are we creating in this world right now? This is what today's conversation is about. Illusion versus reality, right? So Taylor Swift has this new song, and so we were listening to that. And as we were listening to it, it was very clear that it was filtered, that there was there were instruments, but they're not real.
Right. Nobody's just in the background playing and having it be recorded. It's something very electronic sounding.
Yeah, it's created in the in some studio.
Sort of program or something in the computer system, however they do that.
And then here was the Bee Gees right next door on the list next to. So we listened to the Bee Gees, and I was like, listen, you can hear the trumpet, you can hear the guitar, the drums, right? There's still a little electronic in there because that was in the 70s when that was like first starting to come out. But it's overall, it's not what takes over.
Right.
And then you have the harmonies of the three men.
Oh, that was fantastic. I love that.
I mean,
that was
like,
so awesome.
I said, we need to bring these new superstars up, like, and say, okay, you harmonize together. Let's hear
Right.
you guys with no filters, with nothing. Let's just hear you straight up.
Exactly.
Right?
How many trending artists, by the way, too, at this point, even do these things without all of this assistance of the technology or the electronic sound? Yeah. How many of those are authentically happening just from themselves?
Right.
Without it being a live performance.
Or what about just the filters that you have on YouTube or even on Zoom? There, I have a filter on Zoom because at 8:30 in the morning, I'm not like wanting to show my true authentic.
Right.
You know, so I mean, I guess it would be fine, but like the filter's there, so I'm like, do I filter or don't I? I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll filter. I don't even think about it, but honestly, you guys are not getting the real me every morning. I mean,
really interesting, actually.
Visually. You get the real me no matter what, right?
Right, but visually, that's interesting.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that I have been working on with my clients right now. And that's the awareness to be your true authentic self no matter who is around. That's number one in what I'm working on across the board with everyone. And so if you're my client and you're listening to this, yes, I have been told by God that this is one of those main things that we really need to discuss and work through. So you get it. You're my client. You get it. And we talk about it because each individual has, like, you should see, like, when they're like, do I show up my true authentic self no matter who's around?
You have to really think about it.
You do. You do, because that was one of the things that you and I discussed. Because I kept telling her, I was like, girl, like, when it's just you and I, you're showing up one way, but then when other people come up, I'm like, who are you? And what did you say? You're like, I don't know.
Yeah. It wasn't obvious in the beginning. And then when I started really recognizing it in the moment, it was shocking.
Right?
How starkly different it was.
Right.
And then when you start noticing and kind of catching yourself, it becomes really just raw honesty with yourself about, okay, this isn't the same person. And why do I portray myself that way to others? What is it doing for me and what is it not doing? Is it authentic or is it not?
Do you remember why you even, like, what the deal was behind you not showing up authentically? Like, the illusion versus the reality of who you really are.
Right.
Because, like, I love you, and I know I get the true, authentic Adrienne. When we're hanging out and we're talking and we're talking to God and stuff, I'm like, where are you now? Like, why did you disappear? We went looking for a dead body, and I had brought other women with us on this trip, and I was like mad at her. I was like, who are you? Why are you? I was like, I love you. You're like, just show up who you are. You're so amazing. I want these women to know, like, how wonderful you are. And it was like like you were stifled or like scared almost.
Yeah, it was really, I think it boiled down to issues of self-esteem and how worrying more about like how others viewed me.
Yeah. And
like that was something throughout my whole life that I had been dealing with. And then when it came up like that, it was so different and it was so much more eye-opening for myself just personally to say, okay, but that was super different. And I don't need to do that with people because it's not serving me anymore. And it was one of those things I had to release to just continue to be authentic all the time instead of almost like it almost feels like two different lives sometimes because you're just putting on this fake face. And then you see it in the media too, where are they really that person or are they doing that to be understood?
Oh, okay. All right. So back when Oprah, her last season, one of my friends got tickets to Oprah. And so we went down and guess who the guest was? Our president, George W. Bush, right? Which was a big surprise to all of us, right? But now that I look back on it, like I always remembered saying, can I hear the truth in somebody's voice on TV, like when they're talking,
Mm-hmm.
and what they really mean the truth is. So I saw him in person, and I'm telling you, like when the cameras are on, he was a totally, I did not like him. I was like, he was almost like a robot.
Oh, interesting.
But when the cameras were off, he was so genuinely like kind. He loves his mom and dad. He's a wonderful person. But as soon as those cameras started, he started like, it was so different and so like just
like rehearsed
rehearsed
almost? Yeah.
and kind of how I felt with you sometimes, that I was like, who are
Yeah.
you? And then I like was like, oh, what the heck, man? These guys are just like mumbling idiots, like blah 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 blah. But then when the cameras were off and you got to see George W. for who he really was, loving, kind family man, loves his wife, loves his kids, was funny. Why can't you show that to the world, dude? Like, people would fall in love with you. What are you doing? So that was eye-opening for me. Right? Yeah. And then like to see how people talk about all these filters and stuff that they use, and you're not getting the genuine person. One of the main things about becoming spiritually,
open, or
sure, or just being like
spiritually aware,
as just being your true authentic self. I think that's like one of the very first things that especially Christians, they'll be like, I love Jesus Christ, I love God, and I'm no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like, you get their true authentic feelings. Maybe not their true authentic selves necessarily, but their feelings about it. Like, I can't say that every Christian is like truly authentic.
Yeah, and
right, showing up, but right, because we wouldn't know that necessarily unless we got to know them. But what I'm saying is that, like, when you truly believe in yourself, like, no matter what, you get me, whether your mom's around or my mom or the president of the United States, like, you don't get anyone else.
Right.
You get Laura be cool, period, end of story.
Yeah.
There's like,
same.
Yeah. One of my old bosses actually said that to me one time in like a group setting, that we all had to go around and say like nice things about people, or how we truly felt about that person. And he said, what you see with her is what you get. There's no whatever.
Yeah.
And at the time, I didn't realize what a compliment that was, because I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like, it was kind of a weird compliment, but now I see, like, that was like amazing.
Yeah. Extremely valuable.
Especially now.
Oh, definitely now.
Like, when you get a friend, our best friends always are, is because we're super vulnerable with our best friend. We're open, we're honest. There's no bullshit, right?
Right.
When you lie to your friends or aren't showing up your true authentic self, right? Then you start to like distrust them, and right? You don't want to be around them. So if you think about it, we have all this music and all of these filters and all this stuff, and people are showing up a certain way, and it's all a lie.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So, like, now, here we are sitting in 2023 going, what's the truth and what's a lie? Nobody knows anymore.
Yeah.
We don't know which way to look. Everybody's so confused.
Yeah.
And in confusion is what?
Chaos.
And abuse. Chaos, confusion is abusive. So if you're in an abusive relationship, or have ever been in an abusive relationship, you know how confusing it is, right? And
Absolutely.
how chaotic and dramatic,
Very chaotic.
right? So what's going on in our world?
There's a lot of fake stuff.
Lots of confusion. Seriously, that's why we
Yeah.
sit at home and be like bringing in heaven on earth right at home. TV's off, everything's quiet. Like, this seriously is how I spend my day.
Listening to those beautiful birds.
The birds, well, the birds just started doing this, like,
Yeah.
within the last couple days.
Mhm.
Because they haven't been really, they actually woke me up the other
Oh,
morning.
wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. When Eddie lived here, because he's from Brazil, and they don't have this in Brazil.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So he was like, oh my God, how could you listen to the birds? It's so loud. Oh, he would just get so
That's so, I'm like annoyed.
so mad because
Yeah.
the birds were so loud in the morning. I'd be like, dude, that's beautiful. No, it's so annoying. They wake me up.
It's a beautiful thing, and it's
Well, if you're used to
natural.
it, right?
Right,
You know,
yeah.
when I went to Brazil, it was not, there was, yeah, it was just quiet. And then the horns honking. It was very, you know, it's a huge city.
Yeah.
It's like, huge. It's like 5, 6, 7 different Chicago, Illinois
Mm-hmm.
metropolis. That's
Yeah.
what like Sao Paulo is. It's
Wow.
like 2 hours to get from his house to downtown. Right?
That's a lot.
That's how long it takes us to get to, downtown
to get
Chicago.
To Chicago. Yeah.
So it'd be like this, like there was nothing in between us
Mhm.
from here to Chicago. It was just all people and buildings
Wow.
and city and
Wow.
it just on and off ramps.
That's
And
crazy.
right? I know.
That's insane to think about.
It was really eye-opening. And the people walk on the side of, I'm digressing, but it was very interesting. Anyway, they don't have birds.
Yeah, they
like
don't
we
have birds
do.
like that.
Not
yeah.
like this. No.
So interesting.
I know. But that's
Wow.
that's reality to me.
Mhm.
Right?
Right.
That's my reality, my quietness, my
Mm-hmm.
solitude. And it gives me time to think and commune with God.
Right.
And when people are constantly listening to music or TV or those earbuds, I want to take those earbuds
Ooh, yeah.
out of their ears and smash them into the ground.
It's just so. It just produces so much instant distraction, and then you don't hear anything around you, even if it's important or even if it would help you to connect or whatever. It's completely distracting you from everything.
Right.
And putting you in a completely different frequency, a completely different way of life, and people are doing that so much that they can't. Then it destroys their ability to connect to their authentic self as well because they're not able
And
to tune in. To
problem
themselves.
solve. And then they're like, why am I depressed, Laura? Why am I so
Right.
anxious and anxiety ridden and I can't sleep at night?
Mm-hmm.
What
Yeah.
do I tell them? Meditate.
Mm-hmm.
Turn everything off and go within. And do you know that when you do it with them, they're like, their whole body relaxes down and they're like, wow.
Yeah, they're like, I really got to keep doing. I have
Yeah.
had numerous clients too that say, "Wow, this feels so great.
Yeah.
I don't know why I wasn't doing this before." And I said, getting to that stillness, and God's always saying, if you get to that stillness and just staying in that quiet, that's when you can have everything change.
Absolutely. I took a client of mine from Chicago. He was from like the inner city of Chicago. Never, he grew up in the, what is it, asphalt jungle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he took him out to Picnic Point and we took a
Ooh.
walk,
Yeah.
right? He had on these like nice white shoes.
Right.
He was like, I was like, dude, this is like, we're going hiking. You can't like, and he's like, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal, Laura. And I was like, but they're not going to be clean when you get done. Like,
Mm-hmm.
he got out of the woods and he was like, that was the best thing ever.
Yeah.
That was the best thing ever. And I was like, see, now if you would actually take off your shoes and walk on the ground in your bare feet,
Yeah.
you get a whole different sense of who you are, a whole different sense of reality.
Mm-hmm.
And your whole bioenergy field, that would be like your aura or the energy that exudes off of your body,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Literally gets cleaned by bushes and trees and the birds and all the other things in the woods, right, that are completely clear. As you walk through them, your energy field clears off.
Yeah.
And that's why people are like, I love the woods, I love being outside. And now we're inundated with 5G.
Right. That's huge issue right now for a lot of people.
Well, it's the same thing as listening to electronic music versus a vinyl classical music where it's all like wood and string instruments and brass. Brass, right?
Yeah.
When you get like an orchestra or a symphony together, it changes, just like going out into the woods. It literally cleans your bioenergy field.
It's such a different frequency, and it's such a healthy frequency, as opposed to having something so artificially created, really, that you're putting your bioenergy field into, and it's just this it's jarring, would be the word. It's just, I can feel it now where I'm just like, I don't like that feeling.
Right.
It doesn't resonate.
Right. I have a really hard time listening to newer music.
I cannot have it on, like if the radio's on or if you're going into some, store or something, and it's very off-putting for me. I can't do it.
Right. So there's the solfeggio. Am I saying it right?
Yeah, I
correctly?
think so. Solfeggio.
Those frequencies, hertz, I think is what they call it.
Yeah, hertz.
Those are very healing. And actually, the guy who figured out who it was took Hebrew, and there was a correlation between Hebrew and numerology, basically, right? So, like, I'm a life number 7, so I'm very spiritual. Ha. What's your life number? Do you know?
I think it's 11, actually.
Oh, a master, of course.
That's why I always see 1111.
Oh, sure.
I've been seeing that since I was very young.
So numerology isn't a spiritual thing. It's actually a scientifically proven, like, frequencies of Hebrew is where it was created, right? Yeah. So, like, astrology was created out of Hebrew, out of the Kabbalah. Like, so many hidden secrets out there that people have no idea about. But if you could just keep listening to reels and I don't know what else you guys listen to.
Or the trending, videos on YouTube or something else, music-wise.
Right. Then you're missing this out, or watching, and I'm guilty because I watch Vanderpump Rules. And the Housewives of New Jersey. I love those shows, and they're like completely mind-bending, drama-filled, like ridiculousness. But I take it for what it is, and that's like pure entertainment. Right. Even though like 99% of the time I'm like, this is such BS. Like, whatever. Yes. Right? Yeah. And I have to be in the mood, like, I have to be tired. I have to be completely wore out from, I'm just need to, like, disconnect from everything. Right. And then I pray at night, oh, God, please forgive me for listening. No, not forgive me, but,
Yeah, I mean, everyone's human. Everyone's going to watch this stuff because it's in our everyday world. But if you choose to do something different, like exposing yourself to these other things, you will see that massive shift within yourself very quickly. That this feels differently, and this makes me feel
well, and it also shows me too that reality TV isn't really reality. It's again an illusion.
Exactly.
It's a part of the whole like cog of like what is reality, what is that whole confusion thing. But when you know the difference, then it's not a big deal. It's kind of like knowing that the child is going to like have temper tantrums, and you don't get angry or mad about it. You just kind of sit back and are like, so, all right, how long is that going to take you there, child.
Yep.
Right? Just gotta wait it out, right? But
Yeah.
you're not gonna like fall into it and get on the floor with the child and start screaming and
Right.
yelling, right? There's a difference there. Although there are some parents that do, and that's the difference between illusion and reality. Don't fall down to your child's level.
Don't fall down. Yeah. Don't get caught up in it, as it were. And that's the most perfect thing is you don't want to get caught up in that over illusion or distraction to the point where you can't think for yourself and find your true authentic self. When you get so caught up in the distraction of these illusions.
So true. Yeah. Very good point there.
Yeah.
See how insightful she is? I just love you so much because it really is like, oh yeah.
We do that for each other all the time. I'm like, man, I really understand that better now.
Yeah.
We're just think about that way.
Or when we meditate and we see the same exact thing and we're like, oh, well,
I'm like, oh
look
yeah,
at that.
There it is.
There it is. Boop. There it is.
Boop.
There it is. You can tell we're old. Well, I'm old school. Do you know that there's like 20-year difference between us?
It doesn't. It never feels like that. It feels like we're just both young at heart, and we don't look at age.
As my childhood best friend and her partner told me one time, Laura, you don't have children, therefore you've really never grown up because you haven't dealt with how to be a grown up. By dealing with children. And I was like, wow, thanks.
Yeah.
I guess.
I mean, some people think of it that way. But it's more of what different experiences that you've had shouldn't dictate.
I just like being young at heart no matter what, because I believe that we grow up, right? Or we grow into being wise and understanding greater concepts doesn't mean that you have to become serious and uninteresting or not fun or not childlike. Like I can still go out and whoop it up with the best of them. I don't need drugs or alcohol to do it either. I just be Laura.
Right. You can have these different experiences and still grow and learn and become wise from the different things that you've gone through.
Because believe me, nobody wants to see Laura Gould drunk again. It was never a pretty sight. I was never good at it. I was the worst. 100% worst.
I couldn't hold anything.
Oh, I was just
0%.
Horrible. As I'm saying this, all these like things are going through my head of how I used to be and like how I've acted and just been like mortified. Like, because there isn't, I can have a half a glass of wine and start feeling the effects basically of it, right?
Right.
So, like, I just abstain because it just doesn't. Although I did have a glass of wine on my birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah. But definitely once it starts getting to my head, I just start drinking water. But, because nobody wants to see that.
And that can be another distraction, alcohol. And if
that's
you're using,
so true.
if you're using it to distract yourself from something that's really bothering you, or you don't want to deal with something in your life, you see people gravitating towards it because it's helping them feel good, as it were.
Right.
But it's really just masking who you really are and your true potential.
And let's just say this, like, I have a family member that's going to be spending some time in a place that we don't want to ever go to, prison, right?
Yeah. Because
of needing to anesthetize oneself. And I love her. She has the most beautiful, soft, amazing heart. She has two beautiful, wonderful children. She's a wonderful woman. Deep down inside, that's been like fractured and hurt so badly. And but inside, ever since she was little, I've seen this like spark of beauty and love and light. And those are the ones, the really sensitive, kind souls that get hurt, that go down so hard And our whole family, we all have these gifts, right? We all have some sort of intuition, as does yours.
Right.
And we tend to do things to anesthetize or to desensitize those sensitivities, because when your heart is completely open and soft and you have the hardness and the reality, what we call reality of like war, guns going off, people harming one another in front of a child, yelling and screaming in front of a child, doing drugs, having sex, doing all of these things in front of a child,
right,
before it's like not even before it's time ever. I don't like even doing it in front of adults is harmful to the soul, right?
Absolutely.
So then you find ways to anesthetize those feelings so that your reality becomes an illusion, and you continue to seek more and more and more of how to escape the reality of your feelings. Now, some people do it with drugs and alcohol, and other people do it with reality TV or earbuds, right? Or working too much, or too much sex, or porn, or eating too much, or right? There's a million different ways to desensitize the body.
Right.
But what we have found from the get-go goes all the way back to the beginning of this podcast, and one of the shows that we want to talk about is how to love yourself. And as ridiculous as, and like, oh sure, just love yourself, so woo-woo.
Right, that, or like cliche, or kind of sounds easier than, easier said than done.
Right.
But it's such an important concept that most people right now aren't able to even understand that they don't love themselves.
Their hearts aren't even open to do it.
Exactly.
That's exactly it.
And
so we
sad.
sit in love. The first time we did it for 6 minutes. We were both on Zoom having a meditation, and I said, oh, God just said to sit in love for 6 minutes. So we did. And I literally, when we got done, I was like, hi, Adrienne. I was like, oh my God, that was so nice. Like, I just like, ha ha.
It's like being in the hot tub.
It was on crack.
Really, yes.
Right. Well, I mean, you've never done drugs, right?
No, but I didn't. Yeah, I have no concept.
You don't need to.
But you don't need to.
Now, when you feel like that, sit in love for 6 minutes, people, and tell me how you feel with an open heart. Tell me that you don't go like, this is like the best weed ever. Never did that to me.
It's like the last podcast of when I had crossed and feeling that immense love. That's what it feels like when you sit in love here too. Yeah. It's the same thing.
But it's also why people who are miserable don't like people like us.
Right. Well, yeah.
Because we're happy.
It's so true.
Misery loves company. But again, I don't want to hang out with the miserable person either.
Right.
I mean, I do.
Technically,
we do. To help them pull up to that, but they eventually get there. Our clients do.
Oh, absolutely.
Or they don't. Whichever, there's no judgment. It just is what it is. But between you and I and our group in the morning, we sit in love every morning. And some people can do it fully, the full 10, 12 minutes, wherever we are now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And others can't. And they're still working on it. But the thing is that they're working on it.
Right.
There's no judgment.
And and it doesn't matter how far someone is or not, wherever they are. We don't have judgment with it. We just say, this is what it is, and we just encourage you to just do it.
It's an awareness.
It's awareness.
It's an awareness. So like my dog has some digestive issues right now that we're working on. And so he was panting. I was giving him his remedies, and it gets worse before it gets better with remedies, right? So I, every time like he would do that, like I would get this like anxiety in my body, and I'd be like, oh. And then I heard God say, no, just love him. And so I literally opened up my heart and loved him. I did take my pendulum and like help it with that, but in that pendulum I had love.
Mm-hmm.
And it went away like that.
Yep.
Or how about that? I was in the line at the grocery
the
store.
grocery store, yeah.
I would tell the grocery store.
That's a really good
story.
one. That's a good one.
The checker out first. The
Cashier. Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Was literally verbally assaulting the bagger, who was helping this person that she was checking out. But this man wanted 2 bags.
The double bagger.
The double bagger and double plastic. I was like, dude, you want to do this? You go to your self-checkout BS and do it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You are wasting. And he had like a month's worth of food. He and his wife.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, you have got to be kidding. So this bagger was like looking at this lady like she had 15 heads. And the checker was looking at the bagger like, why aren't you doing it faster?
Right.
Well, you do it faster putting 2 bags, those brown bags,
no matter
inside of each other.
It's not going to go fast.
And then 2 plastic bags.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, are you kidding me? People are strange. That's all I'm going to say. Like, what is that about, first of all? But okay, I digress. Now we're going back to the checker and the bagger, right? Mm-hmm. And they are verbally assaulting one another, right? And so then one goes and gets the person in charge, the manager or whatever.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Well, the manager just comes over and starts helping because clearly she's like, these people need help.
Right.
Which was like the best thing ever. I wanted to get in there and start, like stuffing bags for him and being like helping him out, but I refrained. But what I did do is I opened up my heart because I heard God say, just love them.
Yeah.
And literally the whole situation calmed all the way down. Mm-hmm. It was so funny. And then everything just kind of got resolved from there. So it was interesting to watch.
Mm-hmm. How quickly that a situation that could have escalated for a number of people around them too, reacting to the situation, everything just goes.
It just falls. It completely like collapses on itself. And then they were laughing, and the checker wasn't, but she kind of seemed like she wasn't a happy person anyway. She just was that kind of a person. But the rest of them really did. They could even the people that were. It was their groceries. I mean, could you imagine having that much, anger go into your food from your checker and your bagger? Mm-hmm. So now you're taking all of this food home that's now vibrating with their frustration and anger at you. Mm-hmm. And then you wonder, like, why does your food taste like?
Right. And that's another idea for for sure.
That's why we're supposed to pray over our food. Mm-hmm. You don't know who touched that food. You have no idea what their intention was with this.
Right. Intention is still energy.
It sticks like stink on you know what. Mm-hmm. Seriously. Absolutely. That's why we need to pray. Jesus, please.
Yeah.
Bless my food. Put your loving energy into my food, in my sandwich, my ham sandwich. A little lettuce on there, a little pickle, a little mayo. Everybody, and I always say, please bless all the hands that prepared this food. And it wasn't because I made my own sandwich.
Right.
I'm not saying bless me. I'm saying bless everyone who touched this sandwich.
Right. Or the ingredients that you use. Like if you're cooking, I do that. I'll ask for God to bless the food and all the people that grew the food. Like the vegetables or the food where it came from and the soil.
All the way back, girl.
All the way back.
All the way back. Right? All the way back.
100%.
Yep. Because you're vibrating and you're going to pick up what they've laid down on that. Mm-hmm. I guarantee it.
Yep.
Because we are all one, which is another part of that whole thing that I'm teaching my clients. We are all one.
Right.
Our energy continues to move forward. And that isn't something that's like woo-woo. That's scientifically proven. Absolutely. That energy continues on. There's no beginning and no end. Mm-hmm. It continues on. right?
Absolutely.
So why are we not talking about that, people?
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
Right.
And if we are all one, we can all always help each other in those situations with energy or positive intention to change something that's inherently negative back to something positive with love.
Like our seeds, one that we're going
Like
to
our
plant
seeds,
in our
oh my gosh,
garden.
yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That, one of my teachers way back when, she taught me that. She brought me seeds from her mother's garden from a different country. I'm not going to name it because then she's going to know who it is. But she was a wonderful teacher. I'm not going to say her name though. Anyway, she said, right, just put your intention into those seeds,
Yeah.
your love, and even if the seed has been genetically modified, you can
Right.
ask that seed to go back to its original state because it's just energy.
Mhm.
That's all we read, you and I,
Right.
is energy. How you show up at my front door, that's what I read.
Mhm.
How you are in your life is what I read.
Mhm.
I'm not making this stuff up.
Right.
You're telling it to me through your vibration, through your energy code that we can translate. Most people aren't quiet enough to know how to do this, but it
Right.
definitely everyone has it in them to be able to do.
Everyone does. And I hear that a lot. Well, I'm not a healer, and I don't really know how to do it like you. And everyone has it within them. If we're all one,
Yeah.
we can all do this.
Yeah.
We
exactly.
can all get to that point.
Yeah, take out your earbuds, sit your butt down on your chair, put your feet flat on the floor, push all your energy down into the ground, pull it all the way back out, and expand all the way out to the universe. And then come back. After you've talked to God or Source or whatever it is that you believe in. I believe in God and Jesus Christ, and that's who I talk to. No judgment, whoever you talk to. I talk to lots of people who have different belief systems. It's all good. And it really all comes down to the same thing anyway, which is to...
You gotta love one another, love yourself.
Thank you. In every text, in every society, the main ingredient of every text is to love one another. Right? If we could find all of our, what do you call it, like the things that we agree upon in all the texts, instead of the things we disagree on,
right?
Let's just look at the things that we agree on, and then you'll start to get along with everyone with no judgment.
Right.
Because we all agree that we are born wanting and seeking love from others and wanting and seeking to give love to others. Now, if you want to find love through porn, you're going to be looking for a long time because that's more of a physical satisfaction.
Right.
Whereas love is a feeling. And what are we always trying to anesthetize? Our feelings. But it's our feelings, our thoughts and our feelings that create our life. So if all you're having are thoughts and your heart's shut down and you have no feeling, then you get depressed and you have anxiety. If you open up your heart and you have thoughts and feelings together, then you can create and manifest. There's a gem for you people right there. That's a gem. You're welcome. Now try it.
Try it for yourself and it will work.
Open up your heart. Open up your heart. How do you do that? Tell them. Adrienne, how do you open up your heart?
You can get real quiet and you get really still and you think of something that you really love. Not just on a superficial level, but like someone that you love, like the person in your home or maybe your child or maybe somebody else in your life that you really, really love. Picture them and picture what it feels like when you're around that person and when you remember how much you love that person. that just, it's very indescribable a feeling in your heart. But
Well,
once you practice that.
Pets, I find with most people that have shut down, but they have pets.
Yep.
Because pets don't talk back and they give us unconditional love. So it's
Right.
super safe.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like if we love our mom, but she's constantly telling us that we're stupid,
Right.
but you still love her, when you think about her, you might hear or feel that stupidness too, right?
That's a really
Which
good
can
point.
kind of shut our hearts back down. So you kind of want to look for somebody where there's not a judgment or a physical reaction of a different sort, like fear. So you got to be like discerning about who you pick too.
Yes, it is very important for that.
Yeah.
And pets are a really good choice.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. And if you can't think of anyone, then I would say choose God, because God unconditionally loves us.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you don't fully understand it, if you ask God to open up your heart, oh, there it is. Can you feel that?
I feel that too. It's like boom.
It's instant.
It's instant, and
Yeah.
I've been telling people this too. If you just ask, you shall receive. If you just feel comfortable enough to ask, if you feel like it's not.
But remember
coming as
that
easily
when you
for you.
ask for that too, that there can't be an expectation.
Mm-hmm.
You have to just like let it go and let it
Exactly.
be whatever it's going to be.
Absolutely.
So when people literally, when they first start opening up their heart, they really don't understand it.
Mm-hmm. No.
Because it's that warm feeling. To me, it's more like an energy of like, ah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's hard to explain.
It is really hard to just kind of describe it.
But I remember Decker telling me that my heart was shut down. And I was like, I love people. And he's like, no, you think about loving people, but you don't feel love for them.
Mm-hmm.
Not fully. And I was like, I was mad at him. But of course, when you have a reaction like that, like anger
Yeah.
or frustration, then you have to work on that. So I knew that about myself, and I was like, holy crap, I'm getting like, you're right. Because I'm like really like, so I knew I needed to work on it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so I did. I started with my dog, Charlie. I would lay in bed at night, and I would just send him love. Right?
Yeah.
And then you would, when I send my dogs love, they always go, they like sigh out, right? Try it with your kids. You'll see them go.
I do it all the time, and my kids now do it with me, and that's in exchange now. But that's because we've taught it, and it's become a normal thing in our household, and they look forward to it.
I love your kids, though. Oh my God, her kids are like exceptional. Seriously, they are so.
They're such good kids.
Oh my God, her little Liam, her youngest one. Oh my God, he is so cute and so funny.
He's
and he
very
laughs like
funny.
you do. He puts his head back and opens his mouth.
Yeah.
Silent laugh.
Mm-hmm.
So cute.
It's so adorable.
And my dogs love that kid. I mean, I love your other two kids too, but I just saw Liam
I know.
last.
Yeah.
And, I have a little bit of a
soft spot
for the youngest one, because I'm the youngest one. We're the best, obviously. Yes. Aren't you the youngest one? Aren't you the youngest one too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the youngest ones rule. Just saying. Just saying. So on that note, what in the world are we creating in our lives?
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
You can either create anxiety and depression, which how many clients come to us and are like, I'm so anxious. And I'm just like, just love yourself. That's like the across the board. And they just look at you like with this like
blank stare.
All right, let's have a conversation. So whether or not they take it, I have my long-term clients, like my mentor clients, and getting them to even understand it, these broader concepts that are so easy for you and I to understand, and they're so complex for them.
Yeah.
And it's really sitting in the quiet, opening up to your own thoughts.
Right.
And that's the biggest deal of all.
Mm-hmm.
Shut up, people. Shut up. That's a psychic, like, what do you call it? Advice for the day. Pee Wee Herman's word of the day. Shut up. Shut up means like shut up your house. Mm-hmm. Shut up your TV.
Earbuds and your TV.
And your music. And like, as wonderful as guided meditations can be, no. Just no.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah.
Go into silence, people. Go into silence. Guided meditation, great to learn how to sit still. But then when you're done, you should be able to sit in the quiet. And if the squirrel munches on something or the dogs bark, you should be able to keep going. I mean, unless it, of course, scares the crap out of you, which... But I had a timer on one day and it scared me. And I was like, whoa, it's jarring. Yeah.
Yeah.
But for the most part, you want to get past the everyday sounds and keep going.
And I always tell people, start small. If you don't feel like you can do 10 minutes or 11 minutes like we do, just start with 2 minutes.
Then do an hour.
Yeah. Well, go. I mean,
that's the joke. If you can't calm your mind in a minute or two, try 15. If you can't do it in 15, do it 20. If you can't do it in 20, try an hour. If you can't do it in an hour, try 2 hours.
The point is keep trying and don't stop.
Stop trying.
Always keep going.
Or call us and we can teach.
Exactly.
Because if that people get into our energy field, and I take them in meditations, they're like, whoa.
Yeah, what was that?
Whoa. That was really intense, man. Like, yeah. Because we meditate all the time for the last 20 years. Like, hello. Right? Now I can meditate literally in like 2 minutes. I can get all my information in like, I can go
The more
longer.
you do it, the more comfortable you're going to be.
Yeah.
The happier you're going to become. And I feel like people honestly start realizing after they practice it every day, they realize how many more things they get answers to in their lives, or things will start making more sense because they are more present, they are more aware, and they're more in tune with their higher self.
I said to a woman the other day, I can go to Home Depot and I can pick out a color within like 2 minutes for my whole house, like every room. And she's like, oh my God, for like one little space, it could take me an hour and a half to 2 hours. And I was like, that's because you don't meditate. And it's the truth, because when you know what you like, when you know what you want, when you can see it, feel it, hear it, you see it, you're like, oh, that will look beautiful, because your creativity comes out, the energy of your brain starts to expand. Like, why do people draw? Why do people play instruments? Why do people used to sing and dance and be creative? Because their minds were open to that creativity. Yeah. Right? Absolutely. Now people sit in front of the TV and on the screen, and they have other things creating, like AI, creating their reality for them, and they don't have to do anything. Yeah.
And they're losing that ability to do it for themselves. And
use it or lose it.
Exactly.
Use it or lose it.
100%.
And you know, that's a like downfall of society when there is nobody creating anything anymore. There's no more society. There's no more nothing. It just becomes nothingness. Put that in your pipe and smoke it, people. Yeah. So on that note, what in the world are you creating for your reality, or for your illusions, or for your life? What in the world are you doing? Right? Absolutely. Right? I say that all the time. Right? Left. I'm going to go left for a while. Go left. You know what I'm saying? Left.
I'll go right, left, right.
Okay. So thanks for joining us today. I know this has been enlightening. Absolutely. If not, it's like pissed you off big time. But either way, if it's triggered you, then you got some works to do. Yeah. How's that?
You contact one of us and we'll help you through it.
How do they contact us?
LauraCool.com or bestreflectionsmedium.com.
Or you can just go to the bottom of the page and it'll be in the show notes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Check it out.
Where it says see more, push
See more,
that.
Click it, people.
Yeah. You can also click the like button and leave us a comment. Well, you can subscribe or not subscribe. I don't care. But leave us a comment. Tell us how you really feel. Because you know what? I don't care if it's a good response or a bad response. I still want to hear from you.
Yes, and
honestly,
tell us if there's other things you want us to talk about, or you have topics that you're curious about or want answers. Bring it.
Yeah,
Let's
and if you want to be rude, be rude. We're totally non-judgmental.
It'd be good to hear from you guys too. It'd be nice to hear what everybody.
Yeah, but you don't always have to be nice. That's what I'm saying.
Right,
Everybody's like, be nice. Be nice. I'm going to turn off the comments if you're not nice. I'm telling you, if you're not nice, I'm going to just love you more because you need more love.
Mm-hmm.
Take that, smoke it in your pipe, baby.
Amen.
I'm just going to love you more. Give me a reason to love you. Oh my gosh, we've been doing this for like 55 minutes.
But we could.
Who wants to listen to us for 55 minutes? Nobody. I said everybody. Who cares? I don't care. I'm doing this for me anyways. I love you.
I love you more.
No, you don't. I love you more.
I love you.
Shut up. Shut up, I love you. That's how it should be in your homes. No, I love you more. No, I love you more.
How much you love each other. It's true.
Right. No, I really do love you. And I accept your love for me. Thank you. I love my dogs. I love God. I love this earth. I love heaven on earth.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And how many beautiful, amazing people I have in my life. My cousins last night. My mom. My beautiful dad who's passed on. All of my friends and all of my family.
Mm-hmm.
All of my clients. But I especially love God.
Mm-hmm.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. What do you love?
I love my kids and my husband and my family, my extended family, my clients, my friends. Definitely God, Jesus, everybody.
Everybody upstairs.
Everybody upstairs.
Downstairs. Everybody everywhere. I have like no judgment about upstairs or downstairs. I love them all.
Yep.
Yeah.
The more you love, the more things can change for the better on this planet.
Holla.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Create your own reality.
Create it
the
way you want it.
Yeah. If you want to be happy, be happy. If you want to be miserable, keep doing the same shit.
Mm-hmm.
Right? On that note, peace out.